Heart, wishing for a little that soars to speed, who never from Apollo fled, whose spectral hour among the dead continually with them to dwell. Sol
a very brief sort of talk back question time after this is over. So if you'll give us just like a couple minutes when we're finished, we're going to bring out some chairs and some microphones, and then you can ask us all the burning questions that have come to your mind while you've been listening today. So we would love to chat with you at the finish, and thank you again for spending your afternoon with us, celebrating all this beautiful music by women composers. We really appreciate your presence. Thank you.
so much for being here and for staying for this conversation, and I thank you so much to the performers again for putting together this absolutely incredible afternoon, and for inviting me to moderate this panel. My name's Julia Randall. I teach music history here at UD, and I'm so excited to be here with my wonderful colleagues. So maybe I will start things off with just a couple of questions, and then we will open the floor in just a minute. So do you want to start by just telling us a little bit, maybe Andrea and Kyung, about sort of how the program came to be and what were the ideas that went into it? How did you pick these particular pieces? Any of those things?
So, long story short, Dr. Kim and I love singing together, and we tried to look for as many opportunities as possible to do that. And we were going to this year at University of Dayton have a voice area diversity initiative, which we do every year. And this year, the subject was women composers. And so I said to her, hey, this would be a great time to come up with some beautiful chamber music for two singers, hopefully composed by women. And it was not difficult to find. We had to kind of limit ourselves. We have a giant folder, which means we can do like a million more of these with different themes. But we decided to confine ourselves to American composers and 20th or 21st century composers. The only exception to that were the very first two, which are Civil War era, so they're right at the end of the 1800s. But we thought that we wanted to try to find a flow to the program that would sort of show how art song developed in this country through the lens of women.
I think Andrea and I, we have been talking about interdisciplinary part of the program for a long time. I think a couple of years ago. When we were doing some brainstorming together, we thought it would be nice to have a visual art and also the dance in the program. European people have done this for a long time. In Europe, with the smaller theaters, with intimate environment, they have done this for a while, but I don't think it is really popular here yet. And with our department merging, I thought that this will be a very timely thing to do.
So could you then also, I'd love to ask everybody what it was like to do this interdisciplinary collaboration, and what were some sort of new things that, how did you have to approach your work differently through the collaboration? What were some of the insights that came to you as you did this work?
So as a pianist in this collaborative setting, especially this interdisciplinary setting, I create these harmonies and structure for each artist. So I really wanted to create the environment for each artist to really inhabit in the moment by pacing and by creating some different colors. I hope I succeeded. So, and we just keep inspiring each other in a way. I think that's what's fascinating aspect of this. And I was inspired by Jennifer's movement, by this beautiful color palette, and how you shape your phrases and the text. And it was just incredible experience.
Similarly, I found it to be such a joy to live inside of this vision, and I wanted the movement to feel more atmospheric and less about me coming on stage and doing rote choreography. I wanted to embody their voices. I wanted to click in a little bit to the narrative and to the text, because many of the works of literature are deeply rich. So I gave myself a little bit of a challenge. I made myself do something I've never done before, but I created an improvisational score. So I did not choreograph this work for me. I instead gave myself a palette and I improvised on stage. So each time I did it was slightly different. And I think I described it to everyone that it felt like a high-end art buffet. I had so many things to choose from. The beautiful piano, the different textures and range of the vocalists, and in the way that the scarf felt on my chest and the colors, and it was a joy.
Well, as the visual artist, I was probably the most out of my element here. As the only person up here, right, who's not a stage performer, I really had to think very differently about what I do. My work fits very well on gallery walls, and so it didn't make much sense to just take what I do and plop it onto a stage, right? This is a very different venue. And I also was really inspired by the movement. As you can see with the work, my work is often incorporates hands and is about touch and human connection. And so I was really inspired too by movement. Picturing hands across piano keys and the way dancers move and the way singers project their voices out by moving their bodies, all of that played a really significant role in shaping what I did. And the animation was a new thing, right? I draw all the time, I love to draw. So incorporating that into an animation was really exciting. It was a new challenge, but I wanted there to be movement in what I did as my contribution to this collaboration.
And I would ask her a question. How many drawings were maybe in one animation?
Yeah, this is the crazy part, right? That's between all four, because the first animation for The Prisoner and the Nightingale was a merging of 3 different animations, and so each one is about 115 frames. So in total, that's over 450 drawings. Yeah, it's amazing how you can do all this work and then it collapses it down and then you're like, wait, that's just 30 seconds of time.
So can I ask Jennifer and Erin, did you choose which songs you wanted to collaborate with, and what drew you to those particular ones?
That's a great question. Andrea and Kyung were kind enough to let me choose. So I Am in Need of Music, the finale, really spoke to me. Its fluidity was very melodic. And then Virgie, Narrative 1, was a lot harder for me to wrap my head around, but as I got familiar with there really isn't a lot of, there's a lot of different rhythms. It actually became more of my favorite. Yeah.
Yes, it was really wonderful to be able to select the pieces that we responded to. I think Music Like a Curve of Gold, just like the curve of gold just immediately resonated with me. And then ultimately the Prisoner and the Nightingale too. And so what I was searching for in kind of reading and rereading the lyrics and thinking about your presence on stage, I was really searching for that human element within the music and just kind of waiting to see what visuals came to mind. So in that way, it was interesting because I typically I love music lyrics, I love literature, I love poetry, and all of that is kind of indirect inspiration for me. But in this case, it was kind of reversing that. It was like, okay, what am I seeing when I read these lyrics, and how do I pull from that?
Kyung and Andrea, do you want to talk at all about the collaborative aspect with dancer and visual artist?
Yes, I think the biggest challenge was matching our voices, right? In this challenging music. But I think Andrea mentioned it briefly, somehow we think alike very much. And also I think the singer at my age, I think it's a really a blessing that you have this opportunity to retune yourself to somebody else's timbre. And I think even if you think that you have a good sense of pitch, retuning or singing with somebody else just opens up a new door, and there's a lot of adjustment. child. And it's really a life, this is why I think music education is good. Like no matter how bright you are, you always have to retune it, readjust to the somebody that you're working with. And I think this process was just amazing. And I think once we got the groove of it, and I think we were able to share our feelings with both Erin and Jennifer too. It was easier for us to sort of kind of share our ideas.
Yeah, and then just because we knew that 2 of the songs would be danced to and 2 would have animation, we also had to get really consistent about a tempo, because that matters a lot to dancers, right? If it changes drastically, things don't feel very good. And of course, poor Erin was already doing like 1 million frames, so we didn't want to make her do more frames. So I think that was another thing that was a little different than if it's just music, you can be a little more smushy about it. And Virgie, just to say, I put this in the program notes, but in case you didn't read them because it was very dark, there is no meter for that piece, so every measure is its own number of beats. So it is a little bit of a wackadoo thing to learn and put together and figure out. And I think we all had a lot of fun. Once we figured it out, we were like, this is so neat. At first we were like, what are we doing? Because it was so rough. But yeah, I think it was fun to know that it was going to be moved to and sort of prepare it in that way.
Wonderful. So shall we open it to the audience? I think that we have a house manager back there with a microphone, so if people would raise hands, and I see Sharon right in the middle.
I have 1 short comment and 2 short questions. The blend was fabulous. I mean, I know your voices very well. And I was amazed, very impressed. I know it took a lot of work, just because your colors are so different. I wanted to know from Jennifer why you chose those 2 spaces, very different spaces to dance in, and also for Erin, I didn't understand the speed of the first visual with the prisoner and the Nightingale. It was so fast, was moving so fast. I'm not sure I understood.
Thank you, Sharon. For Virgie, it felt very character-driven. It's describing a young woman who just lost her mother. So I thought it would be interesting if I was behind Andrea and Ji-Hyang, but in between them, almost like I'm this sort of subconscious, I'm representing the narrative and the receding and coming back. There is a moment in the text when Virgie goes down to the river, so it felt very river-like. For I'm in Need of Music felt very water-like to me. So I chose, I gave our wonderful lighting designer, Jane, I requested just a lighting cue that almost looked as if it was a lighthouse light shining upon them. It also felt very siren-like. I felt like I was being drawn towards Ji-Hyang and Andrea, again with the water theme, so I wanted to somehow spatially convey.
To address your question about the pacing of the animation, so when an animation is created in the digital platform that I was using, it's actually at the speed of 15 frames per second, which may not mean anything to anybody, but it's a very fast pace. And so we slowed the tempo down. We actually played with a few different speeds on the animation. And what happens is there's this kind of sweet spot where you can slow it down to a certain number of frames per second, but if you go below that, if you slow it down anymore, it becomes really jerky, and it's very difficult to watch. And so we kind of landed on, I don't remember if it was 3 or 5 for that particular animation, but that just kind of felt like the sweet spot between being too fast and this jerky kind of motion. Again, one of the things that I could see happening once I get through, 10 other projects is I would love to come back to animation. It was really, just a fun medium to play with. But I think with more probably advanced platforms, there could be a way to smooth that out.
Other questions? Okay, I see one in, the back and.
I have one question for you, Jennifer. How long have you been dancing for?
162 million years. That's my son. It feels like 152 million years. Hi, Lanaya. Thank you for that question. At 10 years old, I fell in love with ballet at the Dayton Ballet School. I'm 46 now, 36 years.
What happened? Linda, right here.
First of all, just congratulations to be a part of this creation that we just experienced, and the collaboration and the communication and the listening and all of that you all have done. I wanted to just give a little historical comment here as I go back pretty far with the Department of Music, and congratulations for bringing Judith Zaimont's music again to the stage, because she was a guest composer here at the University of Dayton in, I think it was 1991, spring of 1991, which is 35 years ago. And it was a pleasure to have her here, and we were in Bowl Theater then, and she performed there. She was a pianist, and all of our faculty and students were performing her music. And the other thing I was going to say was thank you for bringing two very important National Association of Teachers of Singing members who are composers, and they were represented today. And Lori Lateman, the last piece that they performed, and Juliana Hall. So, and those were new pieces to me, so thank you. Yes, they support a program, wonderful program that NADS does, and that's every 2 years they have a composer competition, and they've been two of the spearheads of that competition. So thank you all. Next.
You want to say anything else about those composers, or shall we go to another question?
Also, Jody Goebel is a prize winner for the Nats Composer Competition, so she's also a Nats person. Yeah.
I had a question for Erin about the palette that you chose, but then also for all of you or any of you, would you talk a little bit about the texture or the feeling of the scarves and the sort of the peripheral vision and how that changed your performance?
I'm going to have you ask that second part again in a second. The palette actually extends from an exhibition that I recently did at the Dayton Contemporary. I had a solo show there started in May and went through the summer. And I love pink, and there were just so many variations of pink in this. But I also, I just felt like it kind of tied into what we were doing here with kind of pulling away any kind of, kind of skin tone. It was just all about light and color in the imagery. And I think it was December, everybody gathered in my space that I'm using here at UD to look at the work, and there, it's a lot of figurative work, but I had various palettes, and this seemed to be the one that we all kind of landed on, right, in terms of what could be a good representation for this collaboration. Can you ask the second part again? I know it was with the scarves. I was trying to hold on to every word.
Well, it just has to do with the texture and the feeling and the way in which the fabric and the colors on the fabric interact with the performances, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I don't know why that came to us, or came to me, in terms of putting my artwork on a scarf. We had talked about something that could be part of the performance without, since I'm not a stage presence, so how can I have some presence on stage? And we landed on the scarf idea because we thought, well, that's interesting, but it's also fluid, right? The way that it drapes, the way that it falls, the way that it moves, I think had a really nice correlation or connection to what we were doing here, in terms of movement and gesture.
Can you see this is the hands from the, I don't know if it's been showing through, but this is the center of the let down painting that was shown during the beach. So right here are the hands that we're kind of covering. All like that? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Are they all like that? They are. They're all the same. All the same. You can't see that out here. I know. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It was more about the color.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Hello. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you so much. That was your voices together and then separate. I mean, I almost missed Jennifer's last part of your dance because I like to close my eyes and I feel like I can hear better that way. And there's like, oh, she's on stage. So I open my eyes. But I just felt like I could swim around in your voice, and your voice took me up and down. I'm not a music person, so I'm sorry I'm not articulating well, but I loved being inside your different voices and where that took my own body. The piano was just so beautiful. And Jennifer, the way that every part of your being is embodying that music, just the way your hands moved, I just felt all of that. It was so beautiful. And Erin, the way that your work complemented all of that. And the thing is that when we think of the visual arts, we sometimes call it the plastic arts because it isn't alive. Have you heard that term before? And I was always sort of very envious of all the other kinds of art forms because they felt even your singing is alive and moving in the moment, right? Where sometimes visual art isn't that way. And then all of a sudden you're working with then, Erin, light, and it's moving through time and space in a way that your drawings, I mean, I feel that they do, or even art does, but I just wondered how it made you feel to see your work come to life in a way, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. I was like, how is this going to look up here? It did kind of get me thinking very differently about what I do. I feel that way too. I feel like even though it might be still images, it's very much alive. Like you were saying with a line or with color, there's just this luminosity or vibrancy to still images but it is different, right? It is different than voices, and I'm a visual artist, but one of the things that transports me the most, or is, of the more transformative experiences that I have, is going to see live music. I mean, that wrecks me in the most beautiful way that, a lot of other arts don't, and same with dance. It's just seeing that kind of thing is so powerful. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it needs to settle a little bit. This is still so fresh, and I think I need to kind of live with it and see how I feel about that. But it was really exciting, and what's that? Yes, the scale of it. I mean, that was the challenging thing. Is again, it wouldn't make sense to put what I normally do up here, right? It doesn't really make sense up here. So I, had to find another way to integrate myself and to have some sort of a presence on stage alongside these amazing women.
Hi, everyone. What a wonderful way to spend International Women's Day with this beautiful art. So, my question... So my question is, in this collaboration of womanhood, is there anything that you necessarily learned from each other or took in from each other or the music while collaborating in just a woman's space?
camaraderie between Andrea and Ji-Hyang. That felt very inspiring to me. Yeah, it was just lovely to see their connection on stage and off stage. And also, you know, like Jennifer said, like living inside this vision. In a way, it's very womb-like, right? We're all living inside this vision. It's fluid. There's a lot of fluidity, I think. Yeah, just felt very inspired. And I got to meet new friends, too, which was amazing. So I think the camaraderie built within the experience really inspired me.
Go ahead. I think it was just really empowering experience. You don't get to perform all female composer program or female artists on the stage, so it was amazing.
I think Andrea and I, we talked about this, but I don't know if you noticed, but each composer talked a lot about water in this program, and we talked about fluidity. And I think women are the creatures of the emotions, the flowing emotions. And one time, I think Andrea, me, and Ji-Hyang, at the end of the rehearsal, we start talking about little habits of our husbands. Instant connection there established. I think this project just brought us together through emotions. We talk a lot about families, right? Aging parents and the kind of problems we deal with in children. And I think more than the material itself, I think just our bonding, spending time talking about our everyday life, I think it connected us much more.
Two, I have to say, no shade to the fellas out there, but when you get 5 women in a room, really interesting things come out, right? And it feels very collaborative. I feel like everybody had a very equal voice in making decisions about not only what we performed, but how we performed it. We did a lot of experimenting and trying out different things, and just sort of, it's really neat when you're with a bunch of folks who, yes, are like you artistically, but also give you permission to try stuff and make big old mistakes in this like challenging music and not feel weird about it or like small, you know? So we made big, loud, messy mistakes as we were learning, and it was so nice. And then we would giggle our heads off. During one dress rehearsal, I became hysterical because I was laughing so hard during the second Sobel piece because no words actually came out of my mouth, and we just had to stop for a total giggle break. And it was great. It was great. And I'm not sure that would happen without this kind of environment where you're feeling so supported and so, just in line with each other artistically and as humans.
Yeah, I was thinking just from the historical perspective, you talked about sort of showing some of the history of the art song in America in the 20th, 21st century, but you started with those 2 songs by women from the 19th century, and I was thinking about how that sort of started us off in this space of kind of parlor songs probably, and very much women-centered spaces where women were creating together a lot, and you know, as you pointed out with Lizzie B. Ross, we don't know who she was, and you know, don't know anything about her. But it was really wonderful to have a sense of those 4 mothers, as well as kind of, you know, thinking about the forefathers of art song, which we tend to do a lot. Any other questions? I see. I see. Is it 2 hands? I see. Is that
Daphne? Okay.
Okay. And then Shuangye.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, we'll start.
Thank you very much. And the whole performance is just like so wonderful, so fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and thank you everyone for that. I just have one question. So we hopefully celebrate the Women's Day, and you particularly choose some music by women composers. What do you think is anything different from the male-dominant music scene? What do you think is something special that these women has brought?
I think the main thing is that, so not all the poets that these women chose to set were female, right? So there were some male poets that women chose to set. Some of them were female poets. I think the biggest thing is that it isn't that different from what the male composers were doing. They just didn't have the same access and ability to share it, right? I mean, Beach is probably really the first American woman composer who really was out there in a way where the public could actually appreciate what she did. And she even had a hard time because her husband did not like her living this like weird public life where he was not at the center of it, you know? So I think when you read music criticism of female composers, a lot of the time what you read is she sounds just like a man, right? And so they make a point of drawing that out as like a mark of somehow that it's valid, right? Is that it sounds masculine. So that's all I've got bobbing in my head. Do you have something?
Well, I think just the women having an opportunity to add the voice. I think just that was our main idea of the programming, all the women composers' music. It's like just having a program with women's voice. I think that was our goal. And I think whatever you're taking, whether you felt like the women composers' music was just very much like men's, even so, I think we got to hear the woman composer's voice today, and a lot of poets too.
I think we have one more question in the back.
Why do you have lights on the stage when you're singing?
We need Jane. Jane, can you come out here really fast?
So we have a lighting designer.
Yeah, we'll bring her out.
Yes, here.
Jane, join us. We have a question about lighting. Here she comes. Jane Goodhart, everyone. Our beautiful lighting designer.
Oh, so the lights are kind of just to accentuate what's going on. So you have emphasis on the singers because they are singing about specific motifs within Erin's artwork and also within the women that composed it. So it's kind of just trying to culminate everything that was created to bring it back together. So it's just to make them look pretty.
All right, thank you so much. One more thank you to the creators and to all of you for coming and staying, and happy International Women's Day, everyone.